Welcome to the channel. At 70, Pamela Warner has finally confirmed what everyone has been wondering about for a long time. After years of silence amid rumors, she has surprised her fans with her latest confession. So what is the truth? What has been hidden for decades? Let's find out in today's video. Have you ever doubted what Pamela Warner just confirmed? If so, comment number 1. If not, comment number 0. Don't forget to enjoy the video and leave a sub to support the channel. Malcolm Jamal Warner, forever remembered for his role as Theo Huxtable on The Cosby Show, has tragically passed away, and fans are reeling from the shock. But the pain of this loss is much deeper for one person, his mother, Pamela Warner. After days of silence, she has spoken out not only with her grief, but with devastating truths that raise more questions than answers. In this video, we take you inside the emotional aftermath of Malcolm's sudden death. From Pamela's heartbreaking first words to the moments leading up to his shocking final days, you'll hear the whole story uncut and uncensored. And trust me, that's not what the headlines told you. You won't believe what Malcolm was secretly battling, or the bizarre details that left fans wondering, was this really just an accident? Stick with us, because this is where things get real and heartbreaking. On a quiet Monday morning, the world woke up to a headline that felt like a punch in the gut. Malcolm Jamal Warner was found dead at age 54 after an accidental drowning. Social media exploded. Fans, celebrities, and former co-stars flooded their timelines with disbelief, tears, and confusion. This wasn't just any actor after all. This was Theo Huxtable, the smart, funny, sometimes goofy, but always lovable son of Cliff and Claire Huxtable, a character who became a cultural icon for generations. Malcolm had kept a relatively private life in recent years, quietly working on music projects, independent films, and even poetry. There were no known health issues, no signs of distress, and then suddenly he was gone. According to preliminary reports, Malcolm was found unconscious after what authorities described as a tragic accidental drowning. The incident occurred at a residence where Warner was temporarily staying while working on a collaborative music project. Paramedics arrived within minutes, but by the time they arrived, it was too late. Fans were left speechless. How could this happen? Why now? And what was left unsaid? Even those closest to him struggled to understand. Friends described Malcolm as cheerful just days before laughing, writing, and even talking about new projects. Something didn't add up, and people began to dig deeper, but no one was more heartbroken than the woman who knew him best, his mother, Pamela Warner. Her silence in the first few days only added to the mystery. And when she finally broke it, what she shared would leave the public heartbroken all over again. But this is where things get really disturbing. Because what Pamela revealed next turned this tragedy into something much more complicated. For days after the tragic death of Malcolm Jamal Warner, his mother, Pamela Warner, remained completely silent. No press conferences, no social media statements, not even a quiet appearance at a candlelight vigil. The public waited anxiously, some sympathetic, some in utter disbelief, to hear from the only person who had loved Malcolm the longest. And then it happened. Late one evening, Pamela released an emotional statement through the family's legal representatives. It wasn't a slick PR stunt. There were no polished words or generic expressions of thoughts and prayers. Instead, what Pamela offered was raw, unfiltered, and utterly devastating. "My son was my life," she began, "and now it's like that life has been ripped out of my chest, and we're devastated. This shouldn't have happened. Not like this. Not so soon. Not to someone like Malcolm. Her voice trails off in the short video that accompanies the handwritten message as she recalls raising Malcolm in Montclair, New Jersey. She described his first steps, his love of music as a toddler, and how landing a role on The Cosby Show changed their lives, but never changed him. He was still Malcolm. He still called me after every audition. He still needed me to send him socks when he forgot them at home, she said, laughing through tears. But then, the tone of the message changed. Pamela gently dismissed the growing speculation about the cause of Malcolm's death. There were rumors flying around. People talk as if they know what was going on in his life. Let me be clear. My son was not depressed. He was not on drugs, and he was not in any emotional crisis. Her words struck a chord. The public began to speculate wildly, everything from an underlying illness to foul play. But Pamela was adamant this was a tragic accident, and it is a loss I will never recover from. She continued to plead with the public and the media to be respectful, not just of Malcolm's memory, but of the legacy he spent decades building. He wasn't perfect, but he was good. He was kind, and he loved his fans more than you could ever know. The statement ended with a chilling line no mother wants to have to say, "I don't know how to go on, but for Malcolm, I'm going to try." The world felt her pain. Millions of people watched the video, many in tears, commenting with things like, "I feel it in my soul and it breaks my heart." Celebrities and co-stars, including Keshia Knight Pulliam and Tempest Bledsoe, expressed their love and support for Pamela, calling her strength unimaginable. But her statement also sparked something else, a wave of scrutiny and unanswered questions. If this was truly an accident, why are so many people close to Malcolm hinting at something deeper? And just as the world begins to process Pamela's grief, new details are emerging, turning this story from tragic to deeply suspicious. What do you think of Pamela Warner coming forward at age 70? What do you think about speaking your truth at 70, like Pamela Warner did? If you support that kind of honesty and courage, drop a 2 in the comments. If you believe keeping things private is better for protecting one's image, comment 5. I'm really curious to hear your thoughts. And if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell so you won't miss the next story. As tributes poured in, and Pamela Warner's emotional statement echoed across newsrooms and social media timelines, something unsettling began to emerge, a wave of doubt. The official report labeled Malcolm Jamal Warner's cause of death a tragic accidental drowning. But to those who knew him intimately and followed his every move, that explanation felt inadequate and perhaps even suspect. Let's start with the timeline. According to initial police reports, Malcolm was last seen leaving a private gathering in Los Angeles late at night. Described by sources as a quiet industry dinner with a few close friends, there was no sign of distress, no conflict, and no reported alcohol abuse. Security footage captured him smiling as he exited the building alone, waving to a valet before driving away. But just 3 hours later, his lifeless body was discovered in the pool of a Beverly Hills residence. There were no signs of forced entry, no witnesses, and no surveillance footage from the property itself, which raised serious alarm bells given the size of the home he was found in. Even more puzzling, the home was not his. Sources close to the investigation say Malcolm had no known connection to the property. The house where Malcolm was found dead is believed to belong to an entertainment executive who was away at the time. Since then, the executive has remained silent, refusing all media requests for interviews. It is unclear why Malcolm was there or how he gained access to the house without permission, raising further questions about the circumstances of his death. Then, the autopsy report was released. An initial leak from the report revealed that Malcolm had no alcohol or drugs in his system at the time of his death, which directly supported his mother Pamela Warner's assertion that her son was clean and mentally stable. However, the report also mentioned small bruises on the back of his head and left shoulder, which were believed to have been caused by falling into the pool. But if it was an accident, why did the injuries appear in those places? Many began to feel that something was missing. Experts and fans alike have expressed skepticism about the accidental death conclusion. How could someone who was sober, healthy, and not under the influence of drugs drown in a well-lit pool? Veteran investigative journalist Mara Jennings noted on her podcast that the death was unusual in many ways. Even Malcolm's former co-stars from The Cosby Show have weighed in, albeit cautiously. Clearly, the mystery surrounding Malcolm's death is far from over. An anonymous source from the set revealed, Malcolm wasn't reckless. He didn't just go to strange places. He was intentional. That's what was weird. None of this was like him. And then there was the text message. One of Malcolm's close friends leaked a screenshot of a text message they allegedly received just minutes before his death. The message read, "Not sure why I'm here. Something's not right." Fans went wild. Was Malcolm lured to the house? Was anyone else involved? Could there have been a conspiracy behind what officials are calling an accident? Pamela Warner, despite her heartache, has reportedly hired private investigators to dig deeper. The LAPD has remained silent, only confirming that the case is still under review pending final autopsy results. The question still hangs in the air. Was Malcolm Jamal Warner's death truly a tragic accident or a cover-up? In the days since news of Malcolm Jamal Warner's sudden death broke, the Warner family has moved from grief to disbelief. As the initial shock subsided, questions began to mount, not just from the public and the media, but from his own loved ones. Malcolm's family is now demanding the truth, no longer accepting vague answers. His mother, Pamela Warner, broke down in tears in an emotional statement, but now she is focused on fighting for justice. "My son did not drown," she insisted in an emotional interview with a local station. That's what they're telling you. That's what they want us to believe. But I don't believe it for a second, she said, her voice trembling but determined. Her statement caused public opinion to begin to doubt the official story from the authorities. The skepticism spread not only because of maternal love, but also because of the implausible details of the case. And from there, the wave of reaction began to spread beyond the family. Malcolm's cousin James Warner, who has previously kept his personal life private, made a surprise appearance on Instagram Live. In a 15-minute video titled "The Truth About Malcolm," he made no bones about it. Malcolm did not commit suicide. James called on the Los Angeles Police Department to do its job and not cover up the truth just because Malcolm was a black actor. His video quickly went viral, sparking outrage on social media. Many fans, friends, and fellow entertainers began speaking out, calling for an open and transparent investigation. Family attorney Denise Calhoun confirmed that Pamela Warner has hired an independent private investigator, sending a clear message that the family will not be silenced. Malcolm's former co-stars on The Cosby Show have also begun speaking out. Tempest Bledsoe. Vanessa Huxtable tweeted, "Malcolm was more than a co-worker. He was family, and I stand with the Warner family in their quest for the full truth. We will not rest until it is known." Even former child star Kesha Knight Pulliam shared on her podcast that something's not right here, feeling the details didn't add up. In addition to the emotional pleas, the Warner family offered their own testimony. Pamela revealed that Malcolm had planned a surprise trip for her birthday the following week, an all-inclusive vacation to Turks and Caicos. "Does that sound like someone planning to disappear?" she asked. Malcolm also signed a deal with a new streaming platform just 2 days before his death, a limited series about redemption recovery and second chances, a very personal subject for him. His bank account was healthy, his health was good, his creative ambitions were at their peak. So what happened? The family is now calling for the release of all security footage from the neighborhood where the Beverly Hills home is located, and for a second independent autopsy to clarify the minor bruises and reassess the time of death. While the LAPD maintains that no foul play is suspected, their vague language of pending final autopsy results only adds to public skepticism. As Pamela Warner said at a vigil at a local Los Angeles church, "They tried to bury my son's truth with his body, but I'm his mother, and I won't let that happen." The crowd erupted in applause. With more voices of support, the Warner family has turned their grief into motivation, and their fight for justice is only just beginning. The death of Malcolm Jamal Warner has stirred up a torrent of emotions, memories, and long-buried secrets from the cast of The Cosby Show. For decades, the iconic sitcom stood for Black brilliance, family togetherness, and wholesome comedy. But behind the polished family image was a cast dealing with fame, internal tensions, and growing distance, especially after the show ended and each star went their separate ways. Now, in the wake of Malcolm's death, those connections are being re-examined, and not everyone is keeping quiet. Felicia Rashad, who played Claire Huxtable on The Cosby Show, posted a photo of a young Malcolm on set with the touching caption, "He was wise beyond his years, gentle, thoughtful, and principled. I watched him grow into a thoughtful and honorable man. We have lost something irreplaceable." But even those heartfelt tributes didn't stop the wave of questions that followed. Why had the once close cast become so distant in recent years? Raven Simony, who played Olivia, took to Instagram Live to be candid. "Malcolm has always kept his circle of friends small and close. He doesn't pretend to be connected just to keep up appearances in Hollywood." She also admitted that most of the cast has fallen out of touch and that it's everyone's fault, not just one person. This fact surprised many fans and began to speculate about the possibility of some conflict or rift behind the scenes. This made the public re-examine the relationships between the characters that seemed so close on screen. Meanwhile, Lisa Bonet, who was notoriously private and kept a low profile after leaving the show early, made headlines with a rare written statement. She spoke of the stress and burden that Malcolm had to shoulder as a teenager playing Theo, the ideal son America loved. According to Lisa, the role was not always a gift. It was a heavy responsibility placed on the shoulders of a boy who was not yet fully grown. She asserted that Malcolm faced it with courage far beyond that of a grown man in the same situation. Lisa's words sent shockwaves through social media, raising questions about the meaning of burden and stress. Many assumed this was a reference to rumors of conflict on set, or the pressure Malcolm felt to act as a spokesperson for the cast when the public scandals involving Bill Cosby broke out years later. As for Cosby, an official statement was released from his prison representative expressing heartbreak over the loss of Malcolm Jamal Warner, whom he considered a son. He praised Malcolm's professionalism, warmth, and intelligence, and that he was one of the few people who remained kind in an increasingly hostile world. The response was met with mixed reviews. Some called it insensitive, given Cosby's own legal troubles. Others pointed out that Malcolm never publicly defended Cosby in the wake of the allegations, remaining neutral, respectful, but clearly distant. Some fans now argue that the silence may have masked deeper resentment. Tempest Bledsoe. Vanessa Huxtable recently appeared on The View and broke down in tears, lamenting, "There's so much we didn't say to each other. You think you have time." You always think there's going to be another call, another dinner, another laugh. Now he's gone, and I wish I had told him how much he meant to me. The segment quickly trended on Twitter, reigniting conversations about mental health among Black artists in Hollywood, the isolation child stars often face, and how fame can't shield anyone from their inner battles. Perhaps the most haunting response came from Jeffrey Owens' Elvin on the show, who was publicly ridiculed for working at Trader Joe's. He revealed something few people know. "Malcolm called me after the news broke just to check in on me. No cameras, no press, just one brother lifting another up. That's who he is, a quiet giant." The image of Malcolm quietly caring while others remained silent shattered the illusion of solidarity in the entertainment industry among celebrity families. He was in many ways the connecting thread that tried to hold them together, even as he himself felt torn apart. And now, with his death, the cast must face uncomfortable truths. Were they really as close as fans believed? Did fame divide them more than unite them? And if Malcolm had been secretly struggling or had suspicions of threats or abuse in his final days, was anyone close enough to notice? One thing is clear: his loss has brought not just grief, but also reflection on legacy, on love, on missed opportunities. The sudden death by drowning of Malcolm Jamal Warner at age 54 has not only left his fans stunned, but has also opened a Pandora's box of chilling contradictions, unanswered questions, and a troubling timeline. What initially appeared to be a tragic accident has turned into a swirling storm of speculation. And at the center of it all lies a question that no one can definitively answer. What really happened to Malcolm that day? According to initial police reports, Malcolm was found unconscious in the water near a private property he had recently rented. Although initial reports suggested he was a frequent swimmer at night, witness testimony suggested otherwise. One neighbor reported seeing Malcolm walking along the shore fully clothed and looking nervous. Another witness reported hearing screams and a loud argument just before the sirens sounded. In particular, an anonymous witness said they saw a second person leave the area just before police arrived. The identity of the alleged second person has not been revealed. No arrests have been made, and details have been kept under wraps, raising questions about the transparency of the investigation. The house Malcolm rented was reportedly equipped with a state-of-the-art security camera system, both inside and out. However, police have stated that all the footage is unusable due to technical problems, which is hard to believe given the luxury property owned by a celebrity. This lack of clarity only adds to the suspicions about the accuracy of the report. In addition, Malcolm's manager, who was close to him both professionally and personally, showed rare anger. In a quickly deleted Twitter post, she wrote, "Something is wrong. He is careful. He doesn't swim alone. He never puts himself in risky situations. I will not be silent." Although the post was removed within minutes, screenshots went viral, raising further doubts about the authenticity of the incident and calling for a more thorough public investigation. One of the most chilling revelations came from a close family friend who told Radar Online that Malcolm made a strange phone call the night before he died. The source claims he left a voicemail message If anything happens to me, know that I'm working on something bigger than any of us realize. What was that bigger thing? Could it be a documentary, an exposé memoir, or something involving powerful names that he couldn't name? Malcolm reportedly met with producers in the weeks before his death, developing an independent project focused on exposing hidden truths in the entertainment industry. An insider suggested the project could cover topics such as systemic racism and casting child star exploitation and how networks silence dissenting voices. Some now believe he may have been silenced before he could speak out. Malcolm's immediate family, who had been tight-lipped about their family, remained silent after his death, issuing only a brief statement through a representative asking for privacy. The silence, while understandable in a time of grief, added to the mystery surrounding the case. Some questions arose about whether the family was under outside pressure or had something to hide. The public and the press began to ask questions when no further information was available from relatives. The lack of a voice added to the mystery. Close friends Angela Bassett and Denzel Washington also offered brief condolences without discussing the details or circumstances of the death. This cautious attitude has raised questions about whether they are legally bound or worried about making a controversial statement. The lack of statements from those close to him has led many to suspect that something is being hidden. The lack of information from those who knew Malcolm well has only added to the mystery. On social media platforms like TikTok, YouTube, and X-amateur investigations are proliferating as people point out a suspicious coincidence. At least 3 black actors who have spoken out about corruption or mental health issues have died under unusual circumstances in the past 5 years. Theories ranging from foul play to stalking to silencing the perpetrators are spreading quickly. Despite the lack of official evidence, suspicions are thick and hard to ignore. The public is still waiting for more definitive answers. So at 70, Pamela Warner finally confirmed what has been talked about for years. Whether you agree or disagree, it's a thought-provoking story about courage and self-acceptance. If you find it interesting, leave a comment below. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and see you in the next video.